Hey there, Eric Himan here in San Diego at the R Gang Eatery with restaurateur and owner and chef and top chef contestant, an amazing person and community builder, Rich Sweeney.
Hi Eric, how are you?
So, I think you're going to make us some delicious food and talk to me a little bit about your upbringing and how you got to be here and top chef experiences. So, why don't we first start with the food, because people complain sometimes when I get into talking too much and then they get rushed at the very end and we try to make something happen.
Gotcha.
So let's start with that.
Alright, so
what are we making today?
We're going to make our gang's signature dish, the house-made tater tot, or better known as our soon-to-be world-famous homemade tater tots.
That's awesome. How many places serve original gourmet-style tater tots?
There's only a handful that I've ever seen doing it, and doing it well. And we do 4 different kinds every day.
Are you just a big tater tot fan?
I'm a huge tater tot fan, though now I have rolled and eaten and tasted and tried and tested out new ones to the point where I don't really enjoy eating them that much. It's more of a, alright, if I have to eat one, I will. But today, you get to help me by filling in the role of every intern that has ever hated working for me by rolling tater tots nonstop.
Alright, well let me go wash my hands and you can tell everybody where the sink is.
Over there. I don't know which way you were going.
I'm over here.
Alright, so for the tater tots, we're going to use shredded hash brown potatoes, making it rain.
Make it rain.
Make it rain taters. We've got a little bit of our signature tater tot sauce, which is a binder. It's got like eggs and flour, buttermilk, sour cream, a whole bunch of fun little goodness in there that holds it all together.
Sweet.
Since we're making the cheddar and chive tots,
cheddar and chive,
cheddar cheese, a little bit of dried chives. We could use fresh chives, but we go through so much, it's actually faster for us to use the dried chives.
It sounds like your business is doing well.
It's doing great. We're growing one tot at a time.
One tot at a time.
One tot.
And you always have these really neat shirts. So like I noticed everybody had a different one on.
Yeah, everybody at our gang wears one of our funny saying shirts. So when I used to bartend back in a previous life, I always wore T-shirts that had something funny on them. Yeah. And when I was meeting with the guy who was coming up with our logo and our brand identity, every time I went to a meeting, I always had a different T-shirt on, and he thought it was really funny, so he all tied into the whole thing. So he took little things that I would say during meetings and turned them into T-shirts.
Gourmet minus the tude.
Mm-hmm. So really, it's supposed to be gourmet food minus the tude. So it kind of rhymes a little bit. Thanks,
that's cool. Who's that, Aaron?
Aaron Heyer was actually the one who came up with that. And was the one who caught it when they realized they forgot to put the food in there.
That's awesome.
So, and then the last thing that's going to go into these is just a little bit of spices, some paprika, chili powder, granulated garlic. Cool. Some fun to kind of kick it up a little bit.
Sweet.
Alright, so while I mix some of those together, because tater tots are just such a labor of love, I'm going to entrust you with some tater tot mix that I made earlier. Okay. One of our trusty purple, I hate rolling all of these damn tater tot scoops. Okay. That's the official name for it.
Got it.
And some panko, just some Japanese breadcrumbs. They're just really coarse. And so what you're going to do is you're going to scoop one of those in. Yes. And then you actually want to pat it down with your hand.
I'm going to push this down a little bit so people can see.
Okay. So you're going to pat it down with your hand. Okay. So make sure you fill that scooper up all the way.
Scoop, make very sure. There we go.
All right. Then you're going to just ice cream it. Just drop it right into there. All right. And then the trick to tater tots, you got to toss them. Yeah. Let the extra kind of fall off. Okay. And then you want to turn them into that signature tater tot shape, that cylinder. Then you want to toss them in there one more time.
Were you just a very big fan of tater tots growing up?
I absolutely loved tater tots growing up. And in the year that I spent getting the restaurant ready, it was all about going places that had to. I was like
You're too tall.
The belly can. There we go. I can walk around with
you. You know how many times people take pictures with me like that? It's funny. It's like I'm always somehow like it's nice, but at the same time it's sad. And somebody's like, "Aww," and it's like descend.
I have the reverse, where everybody wants to stand on an milk
crate. No, I totally do.
Or somebody will grab a chair to lean up on.
I just wish I was as tall as you, because then I could just be like, bang.
Do you know how hard it is for me to ride in some cars?
Oh, is it?
Just like you're like cramped in there. I will never own a sports car. I'm 6'4". I will never own a sports car. I will look like Shaq in every commercial that he does, where he's crammed into this little tiny thing.
I always have to have like big cars in order to carry a lot of equipment, when really all I feel I want is a Mini Cooper. And that fits my size too. Like my size, it kind of fits it, but I always feel a little like ridiculous. Like that's what everybody would assume I would be driving.
I can see it.
And it's not,
I would assume it, but I can see it.
It's alright, it's alright. Alright, so now what do we have?
So
we're pouring all of it in, all the ingredients?
Yeah, just a little bit of everything, kind of mixing it all together.
What goes in first, the potatoes?
Yeah, the potatoes go in first. So we actually used to do these completely by hand, where we took potatoes and baked them and peeled them and shredded them.
Oh my god.
Everything was done by hand. And
then one day
I realized that everybody who worked here hated me for it.
Yeah.
And so instead we switched over to hash browns. And what we do is we take the hash browns, we tried like 8 different brands before we found them that worked.
Oh,
and we actually throw them in the oven and just take some of the moisture out as if they were baked. And then we turn them into hash browns.
Nice.
And
then the last thing that goes in.
So our tater tot goo, with the flour and everything in there, really gives it that lovely white slime consistency. I don't know, that's really not an attractive way to be talking about that. That's really what it is.
That's neat.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, it's one of those things that's relatively easy to make. It just has a lot of stupid little...
How long did it take you to decide how to make them? Regardless of how you were preparing the potatoes, like, did it take you like a month to get it to where you felt like it was where you want it to be?
It was one of those things where trying to find a recipe for tater tots is crazy. Like, if you look online, you can find 101 recipes that use tater tots.
Yeah.
And, make like a tater tot casserole. But to find something that actually tells you how to make them is kind of nuts. I'm just throwing it everywhere.
Hey, it's your place.
Why not? I'll get somebody
you live
to
here.
clean
You
up
work
afterwards. And so to make them, we actually had to kind of play around with the recipe a lot. And it took, from when we started doing it to where I think we really nailed it down, was probably like 6 months.
Yeah.
And a couple thousand tater tots later of just trying it and trial and error and trying to figure out the best way to make it work without them exploding in the deep fryer. Because that was really not a
possibility.
If they had like too much moisture in them, or you throw them in,
like
and they kind of go in, and then you lift up the basket, and right as you're lifting it up, usually it's like something jiggles it, and all of a sudden it just pops open, and everything just covers the inside of the fry basket, which is really fun during Sunday brunch.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So that's still a possibility.
It still happens once in a while. It's usually whenever somebody new starts. Yeah, we've got it down now. It's just more so like, how warm is it? How humid is it? All those stupid little
baking things.
Yes, and that's why I don't like to bake.
I like
regular recipes. You just you don't measure it. You just look at it and throw it in.
But baking is very consistent.
Baking is a science, and you have to. If it's humid out, you have to adjust the recipe. And I
never even think of that stuff.
I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I like to adjust it by going.
So it gets hot.
It needs a little bit more. This is a cool day.
And we're in San Diego too. I mean, it has to get hot here normally.
Yeah.
Look at my face, I'm burning. That's how hot it is in San Diego.
You got to spend some time out in the sun.
I
I usually get that color when I work the saute station.
Oh my gosh. But it goes away once you walk out of there. For me, it's like going to the flag football game. I was out there, it's a nice cold breeze that goes by. You do not even notice that you're baking in the sun.
Yeah, you don't realize.
And then yesterday we went to Disneyland. Again, another experience where I was wearing a hat and something else and glasses.
Wait, no, we were wearing like the big floppy, like
they don't sell,
trying to be an incognito.
They don't sell
with the giant glasses, or
no, they only sell like the brim is like here.
Okay.
So the only thing that's sticking out was the tip of my nose, which is probably going to start peeling any minute now. But for the most part, it kind of did its job.
Okay.
But still, like, thank you, California sun.
You know,
I'm going to look really good in Portland and Vancouver, where it's going to be raining the entire time.
It'll turn from red to brown. You'll be okay.
I can't wait. Maybe by the end of the week. Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Somebody says, tater tots. Accidental Bear. Shout out to my San Francisco friends who are tuning in. Okay, so
that's the bulk of how we make them, and then it just turns into the ever so fun task of scooping them and rolling them, and then after we scoop and roll enough of them, we get to fry them and eat them, which is anything that is filled with cheese and fried is good.
How long does it take to fry them?
It takes about 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. Sweet. All right, so I'm going to do this task. As you can see up here, I'll move it. I'm just kind of making the tater tots, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Okay.
All right?
You scoop and ask, I will roll and answer.
Okay, perfect. All right, here we go. You were on Top Chef.
It was a really little show. Only my mom watches.
Only your mom watches?
Only my mom watches.
Did your life change after you were on Top Chef?
It changes.
Did you feel like it changed?
It changes in a way you don't realize. Like, you don't think that many people... You know a lot of people watch the show, but then you don't really realize how many people watch it. That was a very nice drop.
Thank you.
You don't realize how many people really watch it until you're walking in the supermarket.
Yeah.
And you notice that there's some kind of creepy-esque guy following you around.
And you don't
who
know
probably
why?
wouldn't be creepy, except he keeps trying to like walk up behind you and then stop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I realized when he finally came over and said, "Hi, are you the guy that's on Top Chef?" It was really nice, but he told me he was trying to sneak up and see what I had in my shopping cart.
Ah, well, that makes sense.
It makes sense, but you know, when you just want to have a night in and you want to pick up a 6-pack of beer and some pizza and kind of do nothing,
Yeah.
you don't want people seeing
Yeah.
it. You don't want people to think
you
that
don't want
that's
people
what you
judging
do.
you
Yeah.
constantly. That makes sense. But at the same time, I wonder, being on a show like that, like, when do you find out, like, just how crazy it can be? Were you asked to do a lot of, like, did you get a lot of job opportunities, like, after that? Did everybody want you?
I got a lot of interest. A lot of people were calling and asking, and it's one of those things where, you know, when the show's airing, everybody wants to see how far you're going to go before anything materializes. But I was really happy with the restaurant that I was at, and you know, the guys who were my bosses there actually were going to promote me until I told them I had to leave for 5.5 weeks.
That's another thing I wonder about the show, is, like, how do you leave for 5.5 weeks?
It's different for everybody. Some people will actually like tell their boss, "Hey, you know, this is what I'm doing." They do what I did, which is tell your boss, "This is what I'm doing, and please don't tell anybody, because if you tell somebody and it gets out, I get kicked off the show."
And then we all lose.
Right. Or
they benefit too, in a way, right?
Oh,
Once
yeah,
you're done.
they got a ton of.
I could be faster at this.
It's okay. You're working like every other intern.
I hope you are taking notes, Eric. I will be expecting some tots this weekend. Nice. Thanks, Bob. That's my friend Bob in Spokane, Washington.
Hi, Bob.
We got a lot of West Coasters today.
Yeehaw.
So my other question, last question about Top Chef is, after the show, did you feel like, not many people, like, I recently ran into a friend of yours, Carla Hall, who is awesome and a lot of fun.
I love Carla.
She was great, and I told her that I was coming out here and that I was going to see you, and she just said the sweetest things about you. And it's really neat when nice people say nice things about other nice people. It feels like a really good cooking community.
It is, and Carla's just one of those amazing people that everything she does is meant to help somebody else. She doesn't have a bitter, mean, evil bone in her body. She's just one of the sweetest people I've ever met.
But not many. I feel like there's something to be said for the people that are known, even after the show has been off for kind of a while. The people who get known and recognized quite often, because I feel like 20 people could be on Top Chef, but maybe 5 of them have a lot of charisma and a lot of. There's just something interesting about them, like you, where they're the ones that people are like, even after whoever won, they still want to talk to you.
Right.
You know, that has to be a really cool feeling, right?
It is. I mean, every year.
Even being recognized still for it. How long is it?
Yeah, it's going on almost 6 years now.
Wow.
Since it all started. But I mean, it
doesn't feel like 6 years.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feel like our gang's been open for almost 3 years. I feel like the time's just flown by.
Wow, 3 years.
3 years. My baby's growing up.
So you went from fine dining,
working
at Confidential in San Diego, and doing a lot of, right after culinary school.
Right.
When you moved out here from New York.
Yep, came out here from New York, wanted to change, packed up my sister's car and drove across country since she was out here going to state.
Yeah.
And was bartending and managing a restaurant and decided I wanted to do something different. And I always loved to cook, and got home from bartending one night and was flipping through the TV and saw a commercial for culinary school and said, I think I might like to do that. And went and checked it out. And
what was that drive all the way across country like? What was your mindset?
It was just, you know, I've never really, until then, I was never really the kind of person who, I like to have everything planned out like 15 steps ahead, know what I was going to do when, and know every step along the way.
Yeah.
And
you're too tall for this camera.
I know. I forgot. I'm supposed to.
There we go.
There we go. See, I just forgot.
Perfect.
Squat down.
You're good. You're good.
And just decided I wanted to change. I didn't know what the change was going to be. I just knew I wanted to be somewhere different. I love New York. I miss it dearly. But
yeah. Do you get to go often?
No, not as much as I'd like to. And I still have so many.
Do you have a business out here?
You know, I've got this weird thing that I've got, like, I feel like I have 30 kids. They all show up every 2 weeks looking for their allowance.
I love that you call them kids, and I love that there's a sense of community at a place called R Gang.
It's all about, the whole idea behind the restaurant started with, okay, so when I was a kid, I used to look like Spanky from the Little Rascals.
Okay, and that's why your nickname is Spanky.
So that's why my nickname is Spanky. No other reason behind it, just that one. And so I wanted to do something and tie in me being things from my childhood. And when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to name the restaurant, I kept doing like our place or our spot. And all of these things that didn't really feel right. And I was sitting in the parking lot for Costco and Lowe's and punched in Little Rascals into my phone. So maybe something would come up. There was like a restaurant from the show, maybe something I could use.
Oh, neat.
And the first thing that came up was the R Gang Wikipedia page. And I sat there in my car hysterically laughing, as I can normally make myself do, and texted Steve, my partner, and Aaron, and my mom. I said, what about if we called it R Gang something? I don't know, I'll come up with it later. And my mom called me hysterical laughing and just said, if you do it, can you please get a chef jacket made that says Chef Spanky on it? Which I said yes to. So
that's awesome.
But the whole idea behind it was, taking things from my past and things that everybody has as a kid, like Tater Tots that everybody knows.
Fun, and
just twist it around and make it about the food, make it about fun, and find a different way of doing it so that it's a little bit more exciting and different, and it's not just another stuffy restaurant. It's everybody can have fun.
So you are known for these tots.
These are the thing that everybody. I used to be the Top Chef guy, and now I'm the Tater Tot guy.
How did you notice when that's like? What was that like when you started noticing that people were centering in on that dish? Because you have a lot of really great dishes. By the way, your hamburgers are the best. I love the hamburger that I had, and I'm really picky about hamburgers.
I was really impressed that you managed to eat, I think, almost all of it.
Oh, I ate all of it. It was great.
Okay, when I walked by,
I came with an appetite, and I also was able to eat the tots, like these tots, to be quite honest. And they were delicious.
Sweet.
Okay, so we got a few questions. How do you keep the tot mixture from sticking to the scoop?
It's actually the mix itself isn't that tacky. It's not that. It's more cohesive than adhesive. It rather would stick to itself than stick to something else. A lot of that comes from the flour that's in there. So when sometimes you'll see it kind of stick like that to the outside of the scoop. That's just where we kind of just force the excess off and then pop them out. And it's because it's an ice cream scoop. It's got that little thumb release in there too. So it's meant to kind of push it out. But we used to do these completely by hand.
Okay.
Like, no scoop involved.
Oh, no scoop?
That was.
Well, this
we used to get you'd get this one tater tot that'd be this little tiny thing next to this giant massive one because somebody would cut them the wrong way.
Oh, and everybody's different.
Exactly.
I did a thing for the temple in Tulsa, and they had like a Shalom Fest, so I had everybody make. They asked me to make my kreplach recipe, so I was really excited. It's like roasted chicken and red peppers and red onions, all in kind of like a. Almost like ravioli, but like a big ravioli.
Okay.
So I made that, but in order to do this event, I had to make over like 1,600 of them. So you can't do that all by yourself, so you need a team of people to help you. Well, I remember I spent more time walking around the table going, that's too small, that's too big, that's too small, that's too big, that's not cut right, that's not... Until I realized when everybody else touches your food in a restaurant, it's like there's consistency issues.
Yeah, and so that's part of the reason why we use the little scoop.
It's a perfect scoop.
It's really hard to have anything
meticulous about it.
That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind meticulous. That works.
Okay, next question. Is there a way to make these gluten-free without losing the desired bounce?
I've been trying to figure that out for 3 years. It's part of it is hard because we use regular all-purpose flour in the mix that binds them all together. But then also because it's rolled in the panko, which are breadcrumbs.
Oh yeah.
So I've been trying to play around with a few different ways of doing it.
Like gluten-free breadcrumbs.
Yeah, gluten-free breadcrumbs and trying rice flour instead.
You'll find it.
Yeah, I want to come up with a gluten-free tater tot and a vegan tater tot.
Oh wow,
vegan. Well, it's got eggs, sour cream, buttermilk. And usually some kind of cheese in all of them, so I've got to try to find a way of making it vegan, because we get a lot of vegans who come to the restaurant, so we want to try to appeal to as many people as possible.
A substitute for egg for vegans is usually applesauce, right? Is that what that is? I feel like I've heard that before. Like, there's certain things that vegan people can substitute, and maybe somebody can tell me if they're out there, my gluten-free, or vegan people, rather. like, what's a good substitute for eggs in something like that? Because I think if you can look online, like Wikipedia or something like that, I think applesauce is one of them. But I don't know if applesauce would
I don't know
necessarily
if that would really
go in like buttermilk and all that.
The dessert tot, maybe that would work. But
is there a dessert tot?
Right now we don't, but we've done a few actually.
Have you really?
Yeah, we did some of the.
That's smart.
One of the guys from the Padres was down here and came in for dinner, and he had gone to a charity event where I donated basically a cooking lesson, and he came in the restaurant. And he got to come in the kitchen and cook with me for a few hours, and we made his very own signature tater tot, which was a brown sugar sweet potato, and then we rolled them in the panko. But when they came out, instead of seasoning with salt, we seasoned them with cinnamon and sugar, and then a little cream cheese icing to go with them. So we've done a few dessert tater tots. They're just not as popular.
Okay, so where is the restaurant? It is
in Hillcrest, so we're about 5 minutes outside of downtown. It is on 5th Avenue in between Anderson and Pennsylvania. So if you're in Hillcrest, we're like 3 blocks south of the main drag.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're 5th Avenue runs one way out of downtown and up into Hillcrest. So anybody who's downtown and wants to escape, what are you making with that massive tater tot?
No, I have to like get it down.
Okay, I thought you were trying to make a big one.
No. I was trying to sneak one in. What is the address? Tell me the address.
So it's 3683
3683 5th Avenue in Hillcrest, San Diego. And then I see people. Can you use sweet potatoes?
You can use white sweet potatoes. That's what we've used for the dessert tots.
Yeah.
If you use yams, they actually don't hold their shape that well once they've been shredded, so they kind of turn mushy. So it turns out more like a mashed potato croquette rather than a tater tot.
Oh, fun. And then the other question, there's a powdered vegan egg substitute available at Whole Foods. Some locations even have the gluten-free panko.
Okay.
Very interesting. Vegan baking, I guess that is. Applesauce is often substituted for eggs in baking. Oh, nice. Show us the tot monsters. They want to see what those look like.
Oh.
Look at that.
Look at all those tater tots.
Look at all those tater tots.
You've been very productive.
Hey, I'm just enjoying talking to you, and at the same time, I get to be busy doing this, which is really neat. What is your favorite tot that you've made before? What is one that you are the most proud of? I'm sure one of these would be it's a tie because the Cheddar and Chive were the first tots. Yeah.
So
these are the first ones.
These were the very first ones that we ever made.
Nice.
So this has a very special place in my heart. But I'd say right now of the 4 tots we have on, the underground tot is probably my favorite, only because.
And the
underground tots have black truffle, parmesan, and herbes Provence. But then they also have. When you buy the tots, I give you a little cup of sauce on the side.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and I had to change the way that we did things because now it is known as our sauce so good it should be illegal. Because as of July 1st of 2012, it became illegal to sell foie gras in the state of California.
Oh, that's right.
And so the loophole around that is if you buy the tater tots, I will send you out some sauce, compliments of the chef, because it's the way that I used to serve these tots, and it's one of my favorite things. And it makes people angry, but happy.
Before tot, and then after tots. Somebody is saying, those are bigger than tots, holy moly. Sweet potato tater tots and using sweet potato flour and cinnamon cut through the flour would be tasty. Huh. So great. I'm just reading all these things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I think we got 5 more minutes. I know, doesn't this time fly when you're talking?
It really did.
Well, this is a great recipe, and I wanted to ask, what is any, testing tots that you're thinking about making? Has there anything been so absurd that people are like, I don't know if I would eat that? Like, you gotta have, a Bizarre Foods tater tot.
We've had a few that are like that. That people are like, wait, what? But
Into the fryer.
I think just dropping them down in the fryer. You gotta show the finished product.
Yes, I'll even move it over for that. As I'm scooping it into here.
I think we haven't gone too extreme because we try to keep a mass appeal. The foie gras thing, either people love it or it really turns them off.
Yeah.
So that's one. We've done a lobster tater tot.
Lobster tater tot.
We did a bacon, egg, and cheese tater tot.
Wow.
That was very short-lived. People didn't really They like the idea of it.
Yeah.
But you know, when you have it in this little tiny thing, it doesn't. You taste more potato than anything else. So people weren't really a fan of that one.
Yeah.
But we are gonna change up the tots again soon. So we did a little contest last year.
Oh,
that's how we came up with our crab tater tot. Was people wrote the ideas up on our wall here in the restaurant on our chalkboard.
Yeah.
Wall, or they wrote them up on our wall on Facebook.
Oh,
and we took the best ideas and we took the top 5 and put them up on our Facebook and we let people vote. And so we have our crab and Gruyere tater tot because of that. It was a guest's idea. That's not carried over.
Pretty awesome guest.
Yeah. So now I think what we're going to end up doing is which tater tot should we bring back? So we've done about 20 kinds so far. So we're going to bring some
20
back.
kinds?
Yeah.
Amazing. Broccoli cheddar tots.
That was an idea that somebody had for us from the last round. That's
what about like buffalo wing tots?
So we are one of the tots that people ask for the most that we used to have was our buffalo tot. And it was bacon and blue cheese inside the tater tot, and then it was served with garlic buffalo sauce and blue cheese over the top.
That's awesome.
So it was definitely one of those tots that everybody really loved. And when we took them off, we've taken them off the menu 3 separate times.
Wow.
Because people like them so much, we keep bringing them back.
That's pretty amazing. I'm making, I think, my last tot for you guys. They smell awesome, and they're not even, just as this, and they're not even done yet. So, I've been enjoying it here in San Diego. I'm going to do a little plug for my tour. If I'm going to see you soon, I will be in San Francisco on Wednesday at El Rio at 10 o'clock. Please come out if you're there. I will be in Portland on my birthday, March 28th, for my big birthday show. At Mississippi Pizza, we're going to have pizzas and sing. It's going to be awesome. Friday, I'm in Vancouver for the very first time, so that's going to be awesome. Spokane, I'm going to see you, Bob, soon. I'll be over at 9 Bar and Grill. So please come out, and then I think I head to Salt Lake City and Denver. And then I go home and I breathe, and then I make a CD. And I just put out my single, which is running, recorded live at the Jim Henson Studios.
Oh, very nice.
Which was awesome, with some really cool players that comes out tomorrow on iTunes. Please check it out. All right, that was supposed to be hot, hot, heat sriracha tots. What are the best kind of spicy tots?
Right now we've got the jalapeno popper, but we were working on a habanero hater tot. It's going to be habanero and goat cheese and dusted with ghost chili powder.
I'm kind of frightened of that.
Those were actually going to be for when we were going to do late night, and we were going to have Russian roll tot. Because all the tots look the same when they come out. Tot? And so it's going to be one of them was going to be a ghost chili habanero tater tot.
And you wouldn't know what it was?
And you wouldn't know what it was.
That's awesome.
So you just had to keep going until somebody got it.
Like in a giant food gun.
Exactly. You don't know what's going to happen.
That's
but
awesome.
Look how sexy your tots came out.
Look at that.
That's all you.
That is delicious.
All right, now you got to try one.
All right, I got to try one. Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is the worst part of the show.
You know, if you can make it happen.
Well,
now you do realize if you don't like them, I get to blame you because you made them.
These are amazing. Amazing, amazing tater tots. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for
being an awesome person. You do so many community events here as well for the LGBT community. Thank you.
It's all about getting my gang to help out everybody else's gang, and everybody else gets to come be a part of our gang.
Well, if you're in San Diego, or if you're coming to San Diego or visiting, please go to R Gang Eatery here in Hillcrest. And I'm going to finish all these tots now.
Yeah, we're going to go have a little top party.
Yep. See you guys later. Have a good one.